Hello everybody, Ben Rogers here, the Raptors Digest, reacting to the Toronto Raptors 125-107 loss to the San Antonio Spurs. Now, this was the most, so far, we had a couple games against the Celtics, we've had some good games this season, but I'd say this was the most anticipated game of the year so far. The trade that happened this summer, DeMar DeRozan being traded for Kawhi Leonard, two superstars in the league. It was a heated matchup that could have been one of the greatest games to watch this season, and it was, I was excited going into it. I was excited to see DeMar come back and duel Kawhi Leonard go against his old team. And, the Spurs showed up. They came up and ready for this big game, and the Toronto Raptors did not. The Toronto Raptors treated this like they were playing an inter-squad G League game or something like that because, they came out at the beginning of this one with zero energy. Kawhi hit a couple shots at the beginning, and then, our defense was just horrid tonight. It was absolutely horrid. Our team is built as defense first. We have our main guys, Kawhi Leonard, Defensive Player of the Year, Serge Ibaka, as historically known as a defender. We got OG, we got Siakam, we got Danny Green, all lockdown guys. Even Fred, despite his size, is a lockdown player. When we're playing our best, we're locking up on the defensive end, and tonight we literally let the Spurs do whatever they wanted. They had 125 points. We let Derek White go off on us. He went 8 for 11 from the field. Hit 2 threes. He just hit a shot every time we went on a little run. LaMarcus Aldridge was having his way in the paint, 10 for 14. Bryn Forbes 7 of 10. DeMar, he was 7 of 15. Their whole team shooting good percentages. Even Rudy Gay was shooting 60% from the floor, 6 of 10. And that's, they just had it way too easy. The Spurs starters had it way too easy, and it was absolutely ridiculous. I'm not going to hold too much weight into this game because obviously the Raptors just didn't have it tonight. They did not have it. They weren't ready to go. This isn't a reflection on our team, how we are capable of playing. We've won some big games, so I'm not going to overreact. But tonight it'd be an understatement to say it was a horrid effort by the Toronto Raptors. Kawhi tried hard. He had 21 points, but the Spurs' defensive schemes were absolutely, they were genius. Greg Popovich drew it up. They had a double coming at Kawhi every time he took his dribble. They'd have single coverage, and as soon as he got into his move, the second defender would come over, and that would force, that would leave Serge Ibaka open at the three-point line. And, Serge, we've been saying it all year. He's great when he's in the paint. He's banging down low, and he's hitting those mid-range shots. When he's chilling at the three-point line, he's not effective. That's where he was all last season, and Greg Popovich played it perfect. Kawhi would get the ball. He usually gets on the wing or at the top. He'd drive in a couple dribbles, and the second defender would help off Serge. Serge would be floating around the three-point line because the backside help would be in the paint, and, Serge would get open threes all night. Serge took 4 threes, and he had a lot more. He was getting the ball at around the three-point line a lot during this game, and it was very effective at slowing down our offense, whether he shot it or whether he just held it out there and waited for a guard to come and get it. Serge, he developed his handle a little bit, and we saw it at the beginning of the year. If he's in that position, he's better off just taking a few dribbles in, seeing what he could do, maybe doing some similar to what Siakam does when he gets the ball on the rim, the wing, and he's not hitting his threes. He also didn't make anything tonight, but no one made any shots tonight. No one could hit a thing. The Spurs had some great schemes at getting the ball into some, getting people out of their comfort zone, not getting into good spots, despite, the Spurs don't have that many great defenders, but their scheming tonight was phenomenal. And, we just couldn't hit our shots, whether they were open, whether we were out of rhythm. Danny Green was 0 for 6, 0 for 7. Greg Popovich had the books. He had the books on Kawhi and Danny Green tonight because Kawhi played all right, but the ball was out of his hands most of the time, and Danny Green just really didn't have it. But that's unfortunate. It's unfortunate the game goes. To bring in some positives to this one, Norm Powell, I really like the way he played. There's a couple times he looked a bit out of control, but he had 14 points, 5-11 from the field. I'm really excited that Norm God has been back the past few games since he's come back from injury. It's been a long stretch where we can say that maybe Norm is turning a corner and not doing some dumb stuff, making dumb decisions, and hopefully he'll keep up for the rest of the year. So shout out to Norm. DeLon also wasn't awful. He had some nice drives, but the 15 points for DeLon. We need some bigger nights out of people. If those are your second and third biggest nights, it's not going to be a good one for the Toronto Raptors. These are the types of games where you can just see it. You can see it every single game that he's not there, but Kyle Lowry is needed for this team. If we want to go any bit far, Kyle Lowry's needed on this roster, his leadership, his ability, and, a part of the blame on Serge Ibaka's struggles, obviously he's carrying more of a load with Jonas out, but Kyle Lowry gets those big men involved. I think that's also a huge reason of the struggles with Serge Ibaka, and even Pascal Siakam. He's been more up and down with Kyle Lowry out, because Kyle Lowry just gets especially our big men, especially our front court players, easy opportunities. He gets them the ball in spots where they can succeed, and he makes sure that our offense is flowing. He tried. I was really surprised because he had that back injection, that steroid injection in his back. That hints at the injury being more chronic than acute. So usually that's a longer waiting time, unless obviously it's like a torn ACL or something. But usually players want to rest and stay out longer when they have a chronic thing. It's the middle of the season. We've seen it with guys like LeBron, Steve Nash in the past. But he was almost ready to go tonight. He was warming up. They showed highlights of his workout before the game, and so that's encouraging. Maybe Kyle Lowry will be back sooner than we expect, but we really need him back for the playoffs. We really need him healthy if we want to be successful, because we can see it. The team just looks out of sync. And Fred VanVleet, he's a solid point guard. He does a good job, but he doesn't get people involved the same way Kyle Lowry does. And Fred does a lot of good things. I'm not trashing on Fred, and he wasn't completely horrendous tonight. He didn't have many threes. He didn't hit many shots, but otherwise he was fine. 12 points and 5 assists, 5 rebounds, 2 assists for Fred. But Kyle Lowry, just his ability to run an offense, especially this season, it's been unparalleled. He's leading the league in assists for a while. Kyle Lowry, we really miss you, bro, and Jonas as well. We're playing. It's unfortunate because as soon as Jonas goes out, we start playing a bunch of teams with legitimate big men down low. LaMarcus Aldridge is an example, and Jonas thrives against those types of players. The Raptors really struggle when he's on the court with defensive and offensive rebounding as well. Just being able to close out the lane. He's not a good pick and roll defender at all by any means, but getting rebounds and not letting people bully you inside. Serge Ibaka is a bit undersized for a traditional center, so Jonas is a good guy to have to be capable on the defensive end. And offensively, Greg Monroe had 12 points tonight, but if you watch the game, you watch him play, it's not a good brand of basketball. The way Greg Monroe plays, it's not modern NBA. He's getting the ball. He gets the ball stripped from him a lot underneath the rim, and he has no mobility at all. And you can just see how he clutters up the offensive end. He can get some buckets, and he misses some really easy ones as well, which is really unfortunate. But he clutters up the offensive end, and you can see why he kind of got zoned out of the modern NBA. And it sucks because he's a talented guy, but we see it. We see his talent on the court. He's capable of 17 minutes for Greg Monroe tonight, 12 points and 6 rebounds. A talented guy can do that, and he has NBA talent, but the league right now just doesn't fit his playing style, and you can see it. The eye test shows it, and it's really unfortunate because he seems like a really good guy, but at least he got paid before the league completely changed. But the modern NBA is not for Greg Monroe, in my opinion. Maybe that's a hot take, but let me know what you guys think about Greg Monroe. But I'm very excited for Jonas to come back. It's going to be another few weeks, but I'm looking forward to it. And once again, I'll say it on another pod, I think Chris Boucher is a more valuable guy to have out there than Greg Monroe. He might not necessarily be as skilled and big. Obviously the Raptors need some rebounding at times, but the offense I think would just flow much better with a 3-point shooter. If the guy has no spacing, if we have defense like Greg Monroe, Chris Boucher can get blocks. He's still long, so he can get rebounds, and he spaces the floor on offense, and he's looking like a polished guy. When he goes out there, he's looking pretty good. Tonight he hit a 3 in 5 minutes. Chris Boucher's earned minutes. He's earned them, and I think he should be given a shot. And I'd like to see him in proper rotation. I guess it's a bigger game, so you want to go with a more established player in Greg Monroe. But the next couple games, I'd like to see Chris Boucher get out there. Anyways, we're gonna swing it straight into the segments. This game got me a bit deflated. I'm not overreacting. I think our team is fine. We've dealt with a lot of injuries, and that's just how it goes. But tonight, the Kawhi you do him like that play of the day, playing against his former team, it's gotta go to Kawhi. He had a really nice yam at one point in this game. I don't even remember where it was. This whole game was a blur to me, and I can't bring myself to get super hyped about it. But it was a nice dunk. Kawhi Leonard, big ballin' out here. We love Kawhi, but in memoriam, we got to bring it back. Tonight, the GOAT play of the day. It's going to the guy that got the best of the Raptors, DeMar DeRozan. He had a pretty solid game. He got his first triple-double, and I refrained from talking about DeMar too much at the beginning of this podcast because I wanted to give him the GOAT play of the day. obviously, I'm rooting for the Raptors. I would have liked nothing more than Kawhi have a big night and the Raptors come out on top. But I'm a huge DeMar DeRozan fan. He was on the Toronto Raptors for such a long time, and he repped our team so much, even when we weren't a good roster. I got to give my shout out to DeMar DeRozan. He earned tonight. He deserved tonight. And the Spurs, he led his team to come out and be better. Be better than the team that traded him. He outplayed Kawhi tonight, and a lot of that was also due to the scheming that Greg Popovich did. But nonetheless, Nick Nurse tried to shut down DeMar. He said at the beginning of the game as well how he knew DeMar was gunning for this game, and DeMar, despite the sets the Toronto Raptors ran, he came out on top of everything. 21 points, 11 assists, 14 rebounds for DeMar. His first career triple-double against his former team. 7-7 from the three-point line. No threes attempted. His whole time in Toronto, people would bag on him for not being able to do anything but score. He improved every season. You could listen back to our podcast of last season. We always talked about how he improved and how he's just added so much to his game. He did the same thing this offseason, and he's becoming a more all-around player. He played a lot of defense tonight. He looked completely motivated, and I'm really happy to see that he played well against his team. We knew this was a big moment for him, and he earned it. He 1,000% earned it. I'm happy to see him have success in San Antonio. Shout out to DeMar. Shout out to DeMar DeRozan, man. I love the guy. Love the guy. I'm a Raptors fan first, but I love DeMar DeRozan. I like to see him have success. Now, I hope we crush him. I hope we lock him down next game when he comes back to the Six, but, it's just competition. I'm glad to see the guy doing well. And also, Jakob Poeltl. No one gives him too much love. He was only on the team for a couple years, but he's not getting too much run in San Antonio. And I mentioned on a couple podcasts, but even in this game, you could see his value, and I missed it. You miss Jakob Poeltl's impact on the bench mob. Watching Greg Monroe versus Yak play as backup center, it's completely night and day style-wise. Yak, he's so quick, he's mobile, he's agile, he's quick on defense. He's not very polished. He doesn't have many post moves or anything like that, but he's always hustling. He's always in the right places defensively. And Greg Monroe, not quick, not very athletic, can bully his way for rebounds, and has a bit of finesse around the rim. They're completely opposite players, and Yak is more suited for the modern-day NBA. And, yeah, I miss the guy. I miss Jakob Poeltl. I really would wish he could be on our bench this season, but obviously with Jonas, he'd be a bit redundant when everybody's healthy. But Yak, shout out to Yak. He doesn't get too much love when we talk about this trade. Anyways, not all plays can be the GOAT play of the day or the Kawhi you do him like that play of the day. And some just make you say, oh, geez. And tonight, the oh, geez play of the day, it's going to the first quarter. Because after this game, after that run, there's stretches where I thought the Raptors would come back. But after that run, I kind of just zoned out. I lost my energy. I lost my hype for the game. The Spurs went on a 19-2 run at the beginning of this game. Not the very start, but I believe it was in the first quarter, very early on. And it completely took out the Raptors' energy. We weren't able to come back. Every time we tried to scrape back, the Spurs would come back with a score. Derek White, he seemed to hit a shot at the biggest of moments. Whenever we get a 5-0 run or something, Derek White would hit a three, hit a jump shot. Who is this man? Who is Derek White? And why is he doing this to the Toronto Raptors? Why couldn't it be DeMar hitting those shots? I'd rather lose at the hands of DeMar than this nobody, Derek White. This is a weird podcast. This is a weird game. Bryn Forbes is out here dropping 20 points on us. Their whole team seems to be dropping 20 points on us. Return of Rudy Gay too, or not a return. He playing against his former team as well. Patty Mills had himself a game as well tonight. He's been trash apparently all season, so it's just an unfortunate game for the Raptors. I'm gonna keep it real. I'm getting rambly with his OGs as well, but another thing that really frustrates me, and it's frustrated me for the past 8 years of my life, ever since actually DeMar's rookie year. We brought in Marco Bellinelli to be our starting shooting guard. He was supposed to be paired alongside the Italian primo man, Andrea Bargnani. Marco Bellinelli and Andrea Bargnani were supposed to tear up the league. Marco came over. He was a three-point specialist. Came to the Toronto Raptors and could not throw the ball in the ocean. He was absolute trash for us. And DeMar took his starting spot in his rookie year. It's kind of holistic. But, we played DeMar tonight. They're together again. But when I see Marco Bellinelli have success on other teams, I don't think he had a big game tonight. He had 7 points. But every time I see him hit a shot for another team, he missed a lot of shots tonight as well. but he's had a solid career. But when he was with the Raptors, he was absolute garbo, and it frustrates me that he was only really trash with us and pretty good for everyone else. These segments are pretty long tonight. They're long-winded, so we got to end it off with the infamous Damari Carroll Gold Star Award, the worst part of the game. And tonight, it's got to go to my guy OG. I got an OG jersey at home. I love, it could go to Danny Green as well, but, Pop had the juice on him. So we won't blame Danny Green too much for this one. We'll leave it to Pop scheming. But OG, man. OG's. He's just been very off his game for a while now. And I'm waiting for him to bounce back. I'm just waiting for the moment, and it's not happening. For people saying that we should trade OG, that's foolish. He's 21 years old. He has fluid with talent. His stock is at an all-time low. We should not trade OG Anunoby right now. That's foolishness. So people are going to say that in the comment section. I'm calling you out. I'm calling you out in this Damari Carroll Gold Star Award. But with that said, he's been bad. He's been bad. His defense hasn't been there. Maybe he's better suited to play with creators and that give him opportunities to score where he doesn't have to create it for himself. But whatever it is with OG, he doesn't look very fluid. He doesn't look very confident out there. And, even for OG, he's not a very fluid or confident guy regularly when he's playing well, but it's been really bad. It's been really bad the past few games. I said February is when we're going to see OG turn it around. I'm holding that date. I hope we be inching closer to that now. Once he gets all those early season injuries out of the way, it's obviously you never get over family stuff, but you learn to live with it and you adjust to a new life with that reality. And I'm really looking forward to OG just bouncing back. I know he will. I'm not giving up on my guy OG, just like I never gave up on Norm, and he's proven me right the past few games at least. But yeah, I'm really hoping OG has a bounce back game or bounce back stretch coming up. But regardless, the Toronto Raptors lost this. It was pretty bad, but not stressing. We can't stress. If we were losing these games with Kyle and Jonas back, especially Kyle, then I'd be more sad, more frustrated. Kyle was on the bench tonight, which is really cool to see. Hopefully that means his back is getting healthier. Anyways, let me know what you guys think of this game. Tough game to watch, but we got a fun one against the Bucks coming up, so we got to bounce right back and get right back to it and hopefully earn back that first seed in the East. Anyways, I've been rambling on way too much. You're the best for making it this far. Check out the Twitter, the Instagram, all that cool stuff. I'm signing out. Cheers.